What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast, just dedicated to talking about all the poggers things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam.
And my tummy hurts.
Oh, no.
Yeah, my tummy hurts.
That's no bueno.
No, I'll survive. But
we should have thrown all the poggers things in life, like music, content creation, politics, and video games.
Yeah, music, content creation, politics, IBS, and video games. This is your sponsored by fucking Malox.
Oh,
Wait,
my.
Is Malox what I think it is?
I've never heard that in my life.
Oh, okay, it's a stomach acid thing. Close enough.
And the Gritty Goose.
The Gritty Goose?
The Gritty Goose. That's the emote Nate put in your chat. It has taken over my chat. It's spread like malware in my chat, the Gritty Goose.
I don't understand. Is it like...
It's a goose
first of all,
hitting the gritty.
why is it... It's not dancing on my screen.
Oh, really?
But I have better Twitch TV. Is it 7 TV?
No, it's a Twitch emote. It's a Twitch hype train emote.
Oh, it must just be like the Stream Elements Twitch chat and whatever. Oh, okay. What the fuck is the gritty?
It's hitting the gritty, dude. Yeah. And then
do you just cover your eyes?
Yeah, it's like a don't. it's a zoomer thing.
You fucking Gen Alpha ass motherfucker.
Oh, the Gritty Goose, bro.
Bro, I'm gonna say something real quick. We won't talk about.
Okay.
But
okay.
it's gonna own your mind for the next week, and we can talk about it next week.
Okay.
You know the experience we have as content creators of the constant like you're not live, you're becoming irrelevant, the FOMO, if you aren't in front of people, you don't exist.
Yeah.
That is just Gen Z and Gen Alpha. That's their life. Is that experience. Think about it, bro.
Yeah. Whoa, I wasn't okay. Yeah, whoa.
I just had the epiphany. I was thinking about how I was finding it so hard to not relate, but like I could sympathize but not empathize.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
and then all of a sudden you can empathize.
The thing that made a normal like 32-year-old person who never had any issues in 32 years for then the next 5 years to just go down the toilet bowl is the same exact thing, just a slightly different flavor for what all kids are dealing with at all times, like we are.
This is gonna be a great PP episode next week because I'm gonna ruminate on that. I'm gonna marinate on that. Whoa.
Yeah, and think about being 13.
Yeah.
And how much I just watched that Bo Burnham movie, 8th Grade.
Oh, okay.
And it's the most like raw, fucking real.
Yeah.
It's worth watching. We don't have to get into any details of it, but but yeah, just like seeing the fucking struggle, man, of kids.
Yeah.
I can't imagine like how 8th grade, of all the emotions I felt in my entire life, the totality of the emotions, I think 70% of them were in 8th grade.
Yep. I mean, that's like it's almost like what your brain is doing right there. It's just like firing on all cylinders, all the emotions, feeling them as strongly as possible, and it's like calibrating. Yeah. It's almost like our machine of humanity, the machine that is humanity. What we're the place that now is under the most pressure is the calibration. Oh yeah, we do. We need to talk about this either next week or on the Patreon. Holy.
So anyway, what's going on in Tarky Land, bud?
Bro, Tarky Land has been pretty popping. A lot of little stuff going on. So we didn't have an episode last week because I was out of town, but the week before was like the day after they released that Labyrinth event. As I told you about, like BDSM Tagilla and the escape room,
Leather
Daddy Tequila, the escape rooms, like that kind of stuff. And man, you know what I should have done? I should have actually watched the episode, just those 10 minutes before this episode, because I remember so confidently saying something along the lines of, just let me have my fun. I know in like a week, it's like everyone's going to figure it out. It's going to get min-maxed. Everyone's going to be ratting. But for now, it's fun. Because I was talking about how much fun the PvP was and how much fun the feeling of not knowing. Like, where do I go? I don't understand this map. Like, it like brought back 2017, 2018 Tarkov for me, because like I'm not a Chad in the Labyrinth because I don't know where to go. I don't know where spawns are. I don't know what spawn is closer to what. And it felt good, and the PvP felt good, and it was such a surprise. And
also the loot was really good.
The loot was insane. And so it felt so good. So it's so funny. I took a week off and I came back and, oh dude, and like it's been miserable. Now, yeah. Now, this isn't to say like that BSG made the event miserable at all. It's to say the misery that Tarkov is will permeate any, like, I'm gonna walk that back. The shit cake will always bleed through no matter how delicious the icing. So that's not to criticize this event, the Labyrinth event, more to say that like no matter how many delicious layers of icing you put on, and I can say, wow, great job. It's like those things will always rear their ugly head until addressed. You know what I mean? So the event was great. Probably one of the most well-received events ever. In a lot of ways, it feels fun. Definitely like not a perfect event. Like you can 5-man the event, which means, because only 5 people spawn on Labyrinth, which means you can run it basically in perpetuity with no enemies. Now the AI down there, I genuinely in the past like 50 runs I've done, I've probably died to the AI more than to players. But it's so like that's kind of, and there's only one way to get in. You have to go underneath Shoreline. So you can imagine the West Wing basement of Shoreline is like a shit show. Like like a bunch of rat spots, and like snake rat's been hanging out down there, and just like everything. People, lots of clips of like, one grenade wiping a 5-man. But it's fun. I will say continuously, this is an unchanged opinion, just randomly buffing the HP of the bosses is always a stupid idea. Always. If nothing else has changed, right? So I have a couple of clips. I have a clip where they're not worth watching, but I don't know what his HP is. But I was shooting M80 out of a 308 MDR. And how like if you shoot someone in the arm and then it goes through their arm into their chest, it'll count as like one. It says like 1 bullet fired, 2 hit count. You know what I mean? Because you like hit 2 limbs. Whatever.
That was what I saw some percentage of the time.
Yeah, exactly. It was like 24 shots fired, 31 hit count, 1,874 damage absorbed by armor, 923 damage to flesh. I died.
Lol.
And it was Teal was literally the only thing I opened fire on that entire raid. Like, it's crazy. He's got an unlootable class 6 helmet. That's like insane. They buffed his HP to 1 trillion. He also, I don't know if it's because of how much they buffed his HP or other things, but he does not respond to grenades. So like,
oh, not like Killa.
Yeah, not like any of them. You'll throw a grenade and it'll land in between his legs and it just blows up. And there have been times where he doesn't. Okay. He doesn't even run. I'm not even saying like calm. He doesn't even move. And you can throw, there were times where we threw like 6 grenades and he's still alive. So like, I actually don't think explosive damage does anything to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, in my opinion, that would be okay if like, I was having this thought the other day where I was like, when they do stuff like that, there should be like, you know how like in normal games, bosses have like phases?
Yeah.
He should have phases. He should have the Minotaur armor, and he should have like a suit of armor on and only the axe out. And he's like slower. So he's like running at you the whole time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, if we just boost his HP to 1 trillion and he has a full auto Saiga shotgun that shoots AP 20 and he can 360 no scope you and he can see you through walls and track you, that's not fun. But I can see a world where we boost his armor to 1 trillion, but then we take his gun away and make him slow. So he's going to like 27% slower. So he's going to chase you and he's going to try to beat the shit out of you with that thing. And that gives you, like, you know what I mean? Like, that could have been cool. Or maybe after a certain amount of damage, the armor breaks off of him and then he switches to the shotgun and he can go fast again. But now to kill him, it's a less amount of shots. Like I'm not against changing the boss mechanics. But they're just putting their thumb on the scale and it's not fun. It's not fun. No. I've died to him.
It's not game design when you just take the lever and move it further.
Yeah.
Like, that's not iterative game design.
No.
That's not, you're not being creative. You're not, yeah.
So it's like, that's super lame. The AI, basically there will be like 3 or 4 different sets of like the Greek named AI that spawn under there. They will, whatever logic Tarkov proper has, where like if you're on shoreline and you're like looking for scavs, it knows like if you're at power station, it's not going to spawn scavs there because it doesn't want to spawn scavs too close to you. So it'll spawn them up at spine. None of that like logic behind the scenes is there. You'll be looting a room and you'll see 4 scavs in a circle around you crawl up from the depths of hell. They spawn in prone and they get up. And then you're just dead because you're like, I can't shoot 4 directions at once. You know what I mean?
Am I the only one who could audibly hear the Enderman sound effect in their heads? While when you said that, just
yes, that is exactly what happens. Sometimes they crawl from the depths of hell on the other side of the map, but sometimes they crawl up from the depths of hell inside you, and there's nothing you can do. So that's super frustrating. So there's a bunch of stuff like that where it's like, damn, that's frustrating. You know what I mean? The AI classically is ruining it. And then the last thing that's made it is everybody knows all the traps now and how it works. And so the amount of times, so it's basically 5 escape rooms, right? And then all the loot's in the middle. So everyone for 2 days was rushing out to try and kill the bosses and kill the AI and get the loot. Now, like in a staggering amount, 2 of the 5, like if I'm doing it solo, 2 of the 5 spawns will stay in their escape room for 25 minutes. And so I move out, I kill the boss, I kill some AI, I kill a couple players. I can run around to all the spawns and see that their doors are closed and see that they're still in there. But as long as they haven't deactivated their trap, I actually can't push through because you can only deactivate the trap from that side, right? Mm-hmm. And so I see that the doors are closed. I see that they're in there. And my options are try to like loot up really quick and basically leave while they rat, or prone outside the door and wait. And I just can't prone outside the door. Like, that's not who I am on a metaphysical level. So I'll start to loot up and then I'll just fall over dead because they slow creeped out and I just don't know when. And like, you would think that when that happens, it's level 23 Timmy looking for like his Axel Parrot for a quest, right? You would be wrong. The amount of Prestige 1 and 2 Kappa gamers, we're in the upside down. I'm killing more level 27s pushing fights and loot in the Labyrinth. And then it's the Prestige 2 level 69 who sits in a spawn for 7 years. So it's basically unplayable solo for me, even though like structurally so much of the event is like, I want to put the biggest W on the scoreboard for BSG. It's just like, there's just nothing you can do, right?
Yeah.
There's literally nothing you can do. And in a normal map, like you can just like avoid, if you think someone's ratting this extract, you can just like go to a different one, right? Like you can basically be like, okay, you have your cake, I'll have my egg cake. We'll do the different thing. But this map is like, you know, this big and you just can't do anything. And so I had this like, this is like fertilizer for an idea. And also I don't care because BSG is never going to like listen to me, right? But my thoughts on like game design in Tarkov and like extract camping and ratting have always been, right? Like if I get extract camped, I'm going to be like, you suck, you smell like cheese, I hope you step on a Lego, you're bad. But I don't really mean that. Like I don't care. If that's how you want to play the game, my thing is always like, it has been suggested so many times where like, if you stay still too long, you should like get sick or cough or a boss should hunt you or whatever. I've actually never liked those ideas. My thing is when you like, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. If you fed Tarkov completely emotionless, not 2017 Tarkov, not rose-colored glasses Tarkov. If you fed Tarkov right now, like the actual source code to ChatGPT, and you were like, maximize how, like, create a model where you run raids and you maximize the strategy that would be most successful, it would rat, right? Like the structure of Tarkov is minimize risk, maximize reward, sit in a bush with an AVT, near an extract, near a high value loot area. Like that's kind of.
Yeah. And I mean, I was thinking that I came to like that conclusion in 3 seconds when you were talking about the dudes who were Prestige 1, because if you think about, if you play like a snail and kill like 27 bots and 2 PMCs and you just spend a bunch of time in raid and loot stuff, that's when you get like the 25,000 XP raid. Yeah. Whereas if you're playing aggro and pushing and you have a 40% survival rate, you get like, you can do like 4 raids in that time period. But when you survive, it's like 1100 XP. Yeah. And when you die, it's 900 XP.
Yep.
So,
yeah. So like, structurally, the game is basically set up in the way where like ratting is the most effective way, ratting and extra camping. And I don't want to change that, but I proposed an idea. Now, once again, like hear me, holy cow, if you're like listening to this or if you're in the YouTube comments, know that what I'm about to say is not a fully fledged idea. I am not married to it. And I'm sure that there are holes in it. This is just like for the purpose of getting conversation going. I was like, let's say there's like 10 million rubles worth of loot on every Labyrinth raid. Like, who knows? But like, let's say it was like a guaranteed 10 million spread around. I was like, what if we reduced it to 5 million rubles worth of loot? And then in the middle of the map, we put a golden Ledex that was worth to therapists 5 million rubles. Mm-hmm. So there's still 10 million rubles on the map. Now.
But now there's pressure.
Now, it has not in any way like hurt your ability to rat. You can still rat. You can still survive those raids. You can do that. But it has added value to the people that don't want to do that.
Yep.
And the people in the middle might bounce around a little bit more because they might feel the pressure of like, ooh, if I can get out quick and I get the golden Ledex and I shove it up my butt, I get the 5 mil. But now the other 2 people in the lobby that want that, you're fighting them. So it's like, so once again, there's probably holes in that idea. It would ruin the economy. Shut up. I don't care. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a way in which we can incentivize the other style of play and reward it without preventing you from playing that way. If you want to rat, if you want to extract camp. But now if I'm looting up Labyrinth, I got the 5 million and I want to maximize, I want to get out all 10 million. So I'm like looting everything. If you rat me and kill me, I still got my PvP and I still got my 5 million. You know, you're going to make it out with the other 5. I know it's not nearly that binary, But that was just an idea to get people talking about, like, can we even out the scale without having to say, oh, well, if you sit in a bush too long, you should just like start to take damage. You know what I mean? It's like, no, let them do that. But can we give something to the guys on the other side? No, you know what I mean? I know cheating, everyone would cheat and they would get it and fly hack. Shut up.
And I mean,
like, you know what I mean?
The thing is this conceptually any different than a marked room with good loot?
No.
And so we have to ask ourselves,
right.
why do they keep fucking up?
Yeah.
All of that, like, clearly there's something they're going for. I don't know that they've ever actually articulated what they're avoiding or what they're attempting to, what they want with having like a key that's so giga rare. And when you go in there, half the time there's nothing. When, you know, back in the day, it was, you had like a 1 in 3 chance of getting like a docs case. You know, when the docs case was like the best thing you could get, or you know, a keychain, the fucking key bar,
key tool, yeah.
You know, and that's when the keys were a lot more common, and had infinite uses. And now they're giga rare, wicked expensive. You go in there and it's trash. So you know, like,
because at the end of the day, as much as nobody really wants to admit it, like, in order for Tarkov to be the best it can be, in my opinion, you need both. You need rats and you need chads, right? If every map was like, there's one piece of loot in the middle, like, so basically let's take it to the extremes just to prove the point. If every single map only had one piece of loot on it, nothing else, it was in the middle of the map, and all Tarkov was a fight to the middle, you would have PvP. The chads would like enjoy the PvP, but like that gameplay loop would get so stale because it would just be like, there wouldn't be any like dynamic, you wouldn't get the dopamine hit of fighting something. You wouldn't like see the guy in the distance and then kill him before he killed you and be like, holy shit. And then if you take it to the other extreme, if all 5 people in the Labyrinth decided they were going to wait 25 minutes to open their doors,
it's single player.
That's
Tarkov.
not fun for the rats either. If the rats don't have anyone to rat because no one's chatting and the rats are just ratting each other, and then everyone just like worms out with 37 seconds left and then they all go MIA. So it's like, you need both. So when I was thinking about this, I really was coming from the perspective is like, I don't want to make it so you can't rat. I don't want to make it so you can't extract camp. Those things should be a part of Tarkov. But it feels like the scales are just like death by 1,000 cuts tipping that direction. And it's harder and harder to like be successful and stay afloat the other way. And I know like everybody on both sides wants to, you know, hit the like stay poor or like, you know, get good. You know, the rats are always like, clear your corners if you want to hit me. And then when the rats died of the chads, they're like, oh, bro, 7,000 hours. I don't have enough time for that. Like everybody likes to go back and forth. But the reality is like a healthy balance of both is what makes Tarkov fun, because it's supposed to be dynamic in that way. So I don't know. I just wish there was almost like some mechanic like that. Like, yeah, you can absolutely run out to the middle of the Labyrinth and find and shove a few things up your butt, but that doesn't feel worth the, like, you have to spend 280,000 rubles on a card. You have to queue Shoreline, then you have to SJ6 to the thing, and then you have to queue again. Like, you know what I mean? And then, if you die with a Bitcoin up your butt, it still doesn't feel good, even if you kind of broke even. So I was just thinking about that. I have no solutions, right? And even if I did, BSG isn't going to listen to me, but that was kind of the place I was coming from, was like, I don't know. Now, they did update that they are going to be keeping the Labyrinth in the game. So kind of W and an L. W, they were like, hey, you have until April 21st to get the achievements, which we've never gotten that much. We've never gotten a date of when an event was going to end that far out before. So it helped people be like, ooh, I actually think I can grind for this like second achievement if I want to. Like, it helped people kind of prioritize what they can do. So that's great. And they said after the event is over, we're actually going to keep Labyrinth around. And everybody was loving Labyrinth. So everybody was like, oh, W, cool. But then they were like, we're going to keep it around, but we're going to nerf the loot, and we're going to make it harder to get access to. And so everybody was like, oh, so nobody's going to play it. I guess you know what I mean. Like
now it's just like every other map.
Yeah,
except with some annoying mechanics.
It was like they said the quiet part out loud. They were like, "Yeah, we're gonna keep it, but it's gonna be harder to get to, and there's gonna be less loot." And I was like one or the other. I was like, if you're gonna nerf the loot, it should be easier to get to, because all you have left is that the fact that the map is fun. And if you're gonna not nerf the loot and keep it juicy, then you can make it harder to get to. But why both? Why make us work harder for less loot? Like, no one's gonna do that. You know what I mean? So that was like, it was a roller coaster of emotions, because they tweeted it and we were reading the tweet, and it starts with like, we're gonna keep it around after the event. And everyone was like, yes. And it was like, but we're gonna make it harder to get to. And they're like, oh, okay. And we're gonna nerf the loot. And it was like, oh, Jesus Christ, bro. Now, who knows by how much? If they give a 25% loot nerf to that, it's still far and away the best map to be on, loot-wise. But if they do a 70% loot nerf, why would anyone ever go? So there is still definitely like, who knows? But it was a little disappointing to see that they were like triple nuking it as opposed to just dialing it back slowly, you know?
They have one way of balancing. They have one way of balancing. And the cycle starts. There's everything that's in the game. They introduce a thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, I fucking love this thing. Everyone only goes to that place, uses that thing, buys that thing, whatever. Everything revolves around that thing. So they go, nah, fuck it. They don't go and fucking even, bring everything up. They don't even it out. They don't like.
They've never, subtraction via addition. They've never balanced anything via buffing something else. You know what I mean?
No, and there's a threshold that is like fun, like really fun, enjoyable, like old school, the original vibe of Tarkov, like that whole thing, right? Everything gets squashed under that line, always.
Yeah.
And it's like everything could be at that line. It could be just above the line.
Yeah.
And it would be balanced. It's like, but they just have to.
Yeah.
I don't know. They have to be them, which is.
And for so many years, to loot related nerfs, I always like, how I was always like anti-VoIP. And then I was like, wait, why did I think that? Like, I think VoIP is going to be awesome. And then VoIP was awesome. And then I used to be the guy that was like, they're doing the best they can with the cheaters. There's not that many in the game. And it was just like a preconceived notion I had. And then over time, I was like, I don't know why I thought that. Like, I'm going to revise that thing. Similarly, over the course of the past few years, every time they would do a loot-related nerf, I would always be like, but guys, like, think of the economy. Like, the economy in Tarkov is big and it's complicated, and they're trying to help with the economy. And that's like the most recent where I'm like, I don't know why I used to think that. Like, the economy is like more fucked than it's ever been, and there's the least amount of loot that there's ever been. So like, I'm not even putting this on other people. I'm saying I used to think like, man, if there's too much loot, the economy would just go crazy. It's like, bro, there's no loot anywhere. It's not fun to loot anywhere, and the economy is horrendous. So like, I don't know why I used to think that.
I've now decided, because I haven't thought about this in forever. But it's just been long enough that like we're too close to the end for what has been like my hunch all along to just not be true. No one should ever talk about the economy ever again as if it's a thing that they want to balance, have the ability to understand about. It's the game is so it's complex enough that like there's just no chance they could do anything to change anything. All they do is like hit everything with a giant nuclear bomb. Oh, okay. Country Taiwan has a trade deficit, blah blah, nuke them. It's like we could do taxes and tariffs, and we could have all kinds of trade agreements, we could do whatever. And I'm actually not trying to get into politics. That the guy who was here earlier, whoa. It's just a metaphor. They just there's no nuance whatsoever. The only dude, it's so far beyond.
Yes.
And I'm not saying this as like a diss, because they're not fucking micro economists.
Yeah.
You know, and like video game economies can get really complex.
Very
and
complex.
when you have
yeah,
when you have trends over the course of a wipe that absolutely occur for 100, 200, 300 different items that are all interconnected with 200 other items in ways where their values are constantly intertwined.
Yeah.
There's no concept, like no one should ever again think that, oh, well, that'll ruin the economy. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
There's never been anything that hasn't had like a complete unknown, uncontrollable impact on the economy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anytime they've made changes absent any thought about the economy, there's been massive changes to they change one thing to like found in raid, or they tweak one,
it's just
they
like
make one quest require these 5 bolts instead of these 7 wires. Oh, well, now those just go up in
bolts
50x
skyrocket and wires get nuked. Yeah.
And they don't have any concept of like, oh, well, you know, what are like the minimum price thresholds of blah blah blah. You know, at some point you're going to get diminishing returns. No, they just everyone shut the fuck up about economy. It's just not a thing that they'll ever be able to do. We're always going to have the prices that we have on the traders is always going to be within a few percent of where it is now. Yeah. And the flea market will always end up having everything be way more than way more expensive than it needs to be, because despite having fucking infinite supply, because there's infinite money. Yeah. You just print millions and millions and millions of money. It's the Federal Reserve spitting out dollar bills 24/7, 365 to everyone. No, I'm with you. It's no wonder bread is $700 a loaf.
Exactly. And everything you said, once again, is like directed towards me too. Like that was one of the last things I always held on to, was like, well, they'll ruin the economy, or the economy this. And I'm completely in exactly that mind frame now, where I'm like, there is like, the economy isn't a thing. Like, it's not a thing. Like, obviously Tarkov has an economy, but nothing is ever done like for the sake of the economy. It's too interconnected. It's too like out of bounds already. It's too like, so why not just like let the people have fun? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And if anything ever unexpected happens, that's like, it'll break the economy, they can just go in and flip one switch and it'll get rid of the problem that they created accidentally, because every problem they create is an accidental one.
And so the game wipes. Like if you're World of Warcraft, you can mess up your economy where, like, you know, for 24 hours, this thing is sold for 100 million instead of $1 million. And every single one of your players are trillionaires overnight. And that game you can mess up an economy, but it's like the worst case scenario is like next wipe, they go dunk and they just nuke it all. And like, so I feel like, it's so funny. I feel like they see Hyperrat like grinding for 1 billion rubles every wipe, and they just sit down and they're like, this can't be. And it's like nothing, and every change they've made to the economy has never once prevented him from getting 1 billion rubles in a wipe, but it sure as hell has prevented more casual players of enjoying their wipe, because they can't find shit. They don't have any money. Nothing is worth anything anymore. It's like, if you have 97 hours a week to play Tarkov, you're gonna be rich. And you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy too? Is this is something I feel like they way undervalue. The amount of times a player has played Tarkov for 3 hours, died every single raid, they say, I'm done. This game is ass. They go and sit on their couch. What do? They pull up a stream, maybe a Hyperrat stream. They pull out shorts. Maybe they see a Hyperrat short. Maybe they see a Sheaf short where he wipes a 5-man on labs and gets out with 102 kilograms worth of loot. To BSG, they're like, no, oh God, no, 102 kilograms. He's going to be so rich. To that player, he goes, fuck, man. All right, one more raid. And he comes back and he plays the game. Like, that stuff is marketing, bro. Like, the dopamine. So yes, are you going to have some players in the game that basically optimize the game such that every single one of their raids is a raid that you probably wouldn't want every player to have every raid? Yes. but those people like unintentionally market your game. They're showing every time a friggin' Sheaf short gets 2 million views, 2 million people are reminded of what the next raid could be. And they get back on the game. It's actually so good for the game. Yes, those people have way too much money, but you can't balance them. They have too much time. They're too skilled. You know what I mean? Like,
what you just described is, imagine when the casino, when the person playing the slot machine wins the bling, 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 and the casino runs in, unplugs the thing, and it's like shh, 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 and just it's like no, it's the bling, 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 and the coins coming out. That is what makes everyone like
yes, and the casinos know. That's why they add the bells. That's why they add the whistles. That's why they add the lights. BSG should be retweeting those shorts. You know what I mean? So it's like that I've been thinking about that a lot lately too, where it's like they look at the top end, the 0.01%, and it feels like they just are so worried about them. And they're like, we have to do everything in our power to stop them. But they forget that the 0.01% convinced the bottom 50% to keep playing.
Well, yeah, but, think about it though. Think about it. The default assumption that every player has, I think, or most people who think about this for at least a little bit, the default assumption is, and I'm about to say something that is almost definitely not true, and yet most people would nod their head like, yeah, BSG has some idea of what the average player experience is. How would they know unless they're watching in like a third-person camera someone play?
Yeah.
Or what else? What can they can look at your stats and your bank account number, right? How much money you have. That's their insight. Hey guys, I have a 46% survival rate. I have 7 million rubles. I've done 1,100 raids. How's my experience?
Yeah.
It could be
anything,
anywhere, but there's 17,000 people watching Landmark or whatever. Let's go see what he's doing. Oh, he's bunny hop 360 no scoping everyone with 1 trillion rubles. We got to fucking do something about this.
You're right. Yeah.
They just don't have the insights. And, like, and the funny thing is, now I would like to think that when I played the game, I had a bunch of different play styles. There were times I played really slow and immersive. There were times I played giga aggro, but like 85% of the time I played, I would say it was pretty average.
Yeah.
Maybe like the higher end of average.
You were on the higher end of average, but you weren't like triple stimming face first into the closest fight you could do, and you weren't like getting a coffee in the middle of the raid because you had your rat spot. Like you were on the high side, the Chadlier side of an average player's experience. Yeah,
so I forgot what the fucking point I was going to make about me being totally average. What was I saying? I don't even know, dude.
We were talking about how could BSG know what the average experience is, and well,
yeah, I don't know. It must have been, as my grandmother says, it must have been a lie.
So, once again, and as always, L's and W's all mixed up. Not everything that I just vented about is like a new problem as a result of the Labyrinth, right? It was like I said, the shit cake is always going to seep through. The Labyrinth event was great. The people that worked on it should be proud. And I hope we get more stuff like this in Tarkov. But the echo is only going to get louder that when you add cool stuff and you remind us all of how cool your game could be, the one single place I can end up is back at, and if they would just do something, you know what I mean? About some of these things like the AI or the sound or the loot or like the,
and I bet you they didn't do a poll in the game about how people felt about it, I'm sure.
No, but in the tweet, they were like, we've been monitoring feedback very closely. And we were like,
they go into Twitch chats and read the Twitch chat.
And I was like, you could have done a Survey.
Dude, it's just when you think, right? Like BSG does 2 good things in a row.
Yeah.
And everyone, and it's the, oh my God, he's so changed. Like, I know he used to hit me, but like, he's really healthy right now. And he's really in a good place. And I think he's healing and, things are good. And then all of a sudden you get hit in the fucking face because you burnt the chicken or whatever.
Yeah. So that's the Tarkov stuff. We got some arena stuff that's worth talking about, but I figure we'll go ahead and do this. This is a perfect time to take a quick second and thank the first sponsor for this episode, and that is MANDO. It's, at least for me, it's starting to get warmer, which is good, but it also comes with being outside, getting a little toasty, getting a little sweaty. MANDO's whole body deodorant has been fantastic for me to use. What's nice, I've been wearing a lot more, I've just been getting into wearing a lot more like white tees. And so I used to, use the like blue, the neon freaking toxic blue deodorant. And then you would get like, a couple of washes and you get the big old stains. So it's not that you have your choice. You can do aerosol deodorant. You can do their stick deodorant. That's the like white deodorant.
They have like a cream.
Yeah. Then they have like a cream whole body deodorant. So it's like you can pick the way you want the deodorant. All the scents are amazing. It smells great. You feel fresh. No stain on the clothes. It is, I mean, it's literally everything you could want out of like a deodorant product.
Yeah, dude, I've talked a million times about how I had like an existential deodorant crisis for some reason like a year ago, where all of a sudden out of nowhere, my clothes were just getting like destroyed coming out of the washing machine and the dryer, and then it was just like this weird like caked on, like what the hell is going on? And actually, like, this is one of my favorite shirts, and it used to just constantly be like, and I found out that had to do with, I guess, like the aluminum that's in a pretty much solid stick deodorant.
Yeah.
And I tried forever to find an aluminum-free solid stick deodorant that wasn't just complete garbage.
Yep.
And one day, when Mando originally reached out to us, I remember getting it and saying, aluminum free, expecting to open it up and have it be like gamer goo, gamer gel. And it was like a nice stick. And one of the craziest things is I've actually changed the way that I even wear deodorant. I used to, as like a habit, I don't know why, I used to just kind of like go ham with it,
like a bunch of swipes.
But for some reason, it's just, I can't speak to like the chemistry or whatever of it, but it's like I just need very little to not sweat and to smell good. And every night when I go to get into bed, dude, and I take off, like my hoodie or whatever, and I'm always just like, oh, it smells good. Like, I don't know, it's every one of their scents is fantastic. And now I've got the monthly thing on repeat, so I just don't have to think about it.
You don't have to worry about being out of deodorant. It's awesome. Once again, a clinically proven to block deodorant all day and can control BO for up to 72 hours. Once again, I'm a big person in choice, and you being able to choose. You can do unscented, you can do any of their scents, you could do the cream, you can do the spray, you can do the stick, and it's all the same stuff, and it's good. Whole body deodorant, pits, balls, thighs, belly button, butt cracks, and feet. That's all on the paper. It's literally for anything you need. It's like a little liquid shower anywhere you need to be. So all the products are baking soda free, paraben free. It's awesome. Mando's great. So Mando's starter pack is perfect for newcomers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, a cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers can get a $5 off the starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off of your starter pack using code POGCAST at shopmando.com. That is code POGCAST at shopmando.com for $5 off your starter pack. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence head to toe with Mando. Bada bing.
Yes, liquid showers, unlike normal showers.
Yeah, I said that, and it made sense in my brain. But,
that's all right.
You got the point.
Golden. You didn't say golden shower. I didn't
say golden shower. Let it be known on the record. I didn't say. Okay, so Arena got its battle pass. And it launched on the Epic Games Store today, but I guess the jury's still out on like if anyone will care. I hope they do. I hope they do. I want it to be great. I want 100,000 people to download Arena. Do you want to know why? Selfishly, because every time I play Arena, there are only 7 people in the North American region, and I play against them every time. So I'd love 100,000 new friggin' Arena players. You know what I mean? But the Battle Pass, dude, it's kind of sick. It's pretty sick. It's this is what I've been saying. It was a whole bunch of changes to Arena as well, in addition to the Battle Pass. But I have not played a single round of Arena this wipe until the Battle Pass came, so I can't speak to like how it's felt this wipe. But I will say, as someone that comes back every once in a while for like a Twitch Drops event or an update, Arena is probably in the best state it's ever been. Do I think it's in like a good state? Maybe not. And do I think it's in a good enough state to make me want to like play it consistently? Jury's still out, but probably not. But I will say that like they are on the slow and steady, making the game better every time. So W there. The Battle Pass is sick. Their artists are like so crazy, dude. All of like the animations for the Battle Pass and like how it looks and where it's placed. Their artists are always sick. Their map designers, their concept artists, the boss guys, the stuff that like their artists are just so good. So it looks pretty sick. And the Battle Pass is free and there is no paid tier. Now, do I think that will always be how it is? Probably not. They're probably, getting you hooked on the good stuff and then it'll cost money. But it's currently free and they've never said they're going to eventually charge for it. So for now, we're going to chalk that up in the W column.
It's always so easy to release something like that. Like think of how easy this strat is. Release something, get a bunch of goodwill from the community, and for whatever reason, for having it be free, everyone forgets about all of that stuff. 2 or 3 months go by, you release a thing, you're never gonna like lose the goodwill that you got before from some of the people. And at that point, like later on, when you introduce an optional thing, even like any bad will that comes from it is kind of like, yeah, well, it's optional. So like, who doesn't care? Now, and it's a much larger net positive than if they just did it all from the start. Now,
to be fair, there is something to be said about that kind of conversation and the psychology and maybe a little bit of nefarious psychology of hooking someone on something that's free and then getting to pay for it later. I will say, though, as an overarching thing, I want Arena to be successful, and I'm okay with them monetizing the game that way through purely cosmetics if it were to be a game that like lasted many years and had a player base, right? Like I'm okay with that. It's kind of become the standard. The gamers have almost found this middle ground with the industry where it's like, don't make your freaking shit pay to win, and we'll be okay with like, a battle pass and microtransactions to keep your company afloat. So I'm okay with that. But it's 150 levels to the battle pass, and it's a combination of like, those like crates you would get from Arena that you could like send to Tarkov and then open them for loot. It's a combination of those, GP coins, Lega medals, a crazy amount of cosmetics, and the cosmetics are broken up into like, there are like tops and bottoms like normal, like we've had cosmetics for a while.
Yeah, they look neat.
But there are also like masks, like armored stuff. So like I unlocked a skin for a Karasa that's golden. It's like a golden Karasa instead of it being blue. And then, the Super Chad CQCM mask, it's just like the gray mask with 2 holes in it. It's like they added it probably after you were playing because it's very recent, but it's just become like the symbol of Chad. It in Tarkov is a class 4 face shield with no top of head, ear, or back of head cover. So it's
like the Shattered Mask, but better.
Yeah, the Shattered Mask, but level 4 instead of level 2. So it's like
and can you wear ears with it?
Yes. So it's a ULAC strapped to your face, but no other head protection. So it's like it's the Chad thing because you're running at your enemy, you're never running away. That whole thing. There's like 12 skins for that, and they all look sick, dude. And they made it like class 3 so that the economy doesn't go crazy with them. And these are all usable in an arena. And then any of the cosmetics you unlock via the battle pass, end up in Tarkov as a ref barter for GP coins. So you probably have some of them pulled up. Like you said, some of them look cool. Like I don't know if you have Arena pulled up, but
I don't know. I X'd out of it. I was looking at just a couple of the things.
Okay, but so like those masks, there will be like the cool CQCM mask with like the skull on it or whatever. That'll be a barter in Tarkov I can get from ref. It sucks because they're like, I play this game all day, every day, and all the barters I'm unlocking are for level 3 ref, but I'm level 2 ref. So now I have to go do ref quests to get access to these things. Now, what helped is as a part of this update, they went through every single ref quest and made it 87% easier, like every single one. So in a future wipe, it would have been much easier for me to get ref level 3. The reason I stopped ref questing is because those quests sucked and I don't play Arena. So like if the wipe had happened today and they made all those changes, I would be like, oh, that's fine because I'll just get ref 3 this wipe. So it's not that big of a deal. They made all the quests much easier. So it's going to be much easier to get ref level 3. But the cosmetics are sick. The battle pass looks sick. There's no option. You can't buy levels. You can't do anything. And then the last thing in the battle pass is weapon skins, bro.
I saw weapon
skins. Now, once again, W and L. The weapon skin system that they added, I should like video just so you see it. Like screen record me messing with it and then send it to you. What you can do is you can apply a skin to a weapon, and it applies to the weapon and all the attachments. Now, basically, they ran out of time, so not every attachment in the game does the skin will apply to, but they're basically like, we're working on it, because there's a trillion attachments, right? So we were like, that's totally fine. So like every once in a while, you put it on a gun, it doesn't go to the suppressor, but on other guns, it will. But you can do that, and then you can go in like the gun modding screen, and any particular piece of gear on the gun, you can turn the skin off. So you can apply it to the whole gun and like take it off the optic and then off the suppressor if you want. Secondarily, you can have up to 3 skins on your gun at the same time. So I could apply like the snow camo white one to my gun, and then I can apply the black and gray skin to my optic, pistol grip, magazine, and suppressor. And then I could put the OD green skin on the buttstock if I wanted to. So it's like, it's kind of sick because you can unlock the skins, and then you can use the skins to like mess around and make new skins.
So what level fucking Peacekeeper do you need for the Sabrina Carpenter?
Yes, the Nicki Minaj skin is coming as a part of the Epic Games. I'm very excited. I'm just kidding. Here's the downside to this whole thing. That's the W. Here's the L. None of the skins are usable in Escape from Tarkov. It's just Arena, which sucks. Now, Nikita confirmed in an interview that they're coming to Tarkov.
Oh.
We just don't know when. And that is hard to hear because 1 full calendar year ago, actually more than that, when Arena got its big update in like 2024 or 2023, they added the new smoke grenade, and they were like, the only smoke that works, they added it to Arena, and they were like, we're testing in Arena, and then it's going to come to Tarkov. So skins are coming to Tarkov. Soon TM. That they could come next week. It could be
2.0.
It could be 3 years from now. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's hard to
Q3 2027.
Yeah. So it's hard to tell what they mean. But I will say that it's cool that all the other cosmetics are usable in Tarkov. The skins are pretty mild. Like, you know what I mean? They're not crazy. There is one that's kind of like a purple tiger stripe thing. And when you hover over it, it says special Twitch event skin. So they kind of like told on themselves there on like, I guess there's going to be like drops for a skin eventually. But they all seem pretty. There's like OD green, black, a couple of camos, a couple of winter camos, a couple of digital camos, a couple of like season 0 specific camos. The textures are cool. They're not like Call of Duty where like they feel like you actually like dip something in paint and just paint it off of them. Like the weathered effect of the gun applies to the skin, so they feel scratched up. Like it feels like exactly what I would want out of skins in Tarkov. Like muted colors, mild, but like definitely enough. I had a cool like desert camo on my AK-12 while I was playing today, and like so many people were like, bro, is that a skin on your gun? And it just feels good to inspect it and like look at the gun and you're like, hell yeah, it is. So it's cool. And I will definitely say that like, dude, I almost tweeted the picture of like it's like the meme, and it's like all the people sitting down in like these pews, and then the one guy standing up. And people always tweet it when they tweet like a hot take or something like that. Okay.
I'd probably recognize it if I saw it.
I almost tweeted that yesterday and said, Arena is more fun than Tarkov right now. Not because Arena's good, but because Tarkov is so ass. Because I'll say I have had more fun in the past 2 days playing Arena than playing Tarkov. And I think it's just because like if I'm going to get fisted, I'd rather just get fisted and not lose my progress, like lose all my gear.
There's no pain, and there is frequent little bits of pleasure.
Yeah.
And Tarkov is just snooze fests.
Yeah.
Supplemented with frequent
exactly
pain.
So it's added so much more value in like I kind of want to hop on every day and play Arena at least for like an hour to get my dailies done, because I want to progress in the battle pass, and that's like the most efficient way because you get battle pass points from like dailies and weeklies. If you don't have any quests to do, grinding it slows down quite a bit. You could grind like the last hero mode. But so it's like, it definitely has me more ping-ponging back and forth today to play, and like some of the stuff in the battle pass is cool. So I definitely want to give them their I don't know. I think they did a good job with it. Once again, like I don't think it's like 180ing my opinion on Arena, but they're pushing it in the right direction 100%. So that's a W. I will say though, bro, I crashed out today. Bro, I don't know what causes this bug, but I almost smashed my monitor. Blast Gang. Everyone's dead. I took the bomb. I took it to the other side of the map. I sneaky planted it. 1v1. This is the round for the win, I think. I know he has to defuse. So I'm like, I got hard cover here. I know he can't come from behind me. I'm kind of holding an angle. I hear him. He has to defuse, right? He's running. I'm dead. And I was like, what the frick, man? I thought he like pre-fired me. And I was like, bro, was that guy like cheating?
Oh, you get your kill cam, right?
And then, so I was like, what the hell, man? And then I just happened to look over my other monitor, and Airwing stream was up. But because he was dead, you know how it's like, if you're dead, you spectate. It's a spectate cam. It's not a kill cam.
Totally different.
The guy ran in front of me, stopped, turned, shot a bunch of rounds, missed because he was so panicked that he was in the bad position. He was like, brrr, and then just tracked to me and killed me. He was 1 foot in front of me. He was completely invisible on my screen. So then I clipped my perspective. I clipped Airwing's perspective. And the dude came into chat an hour later and was like, yo, he was streaming. He was like, chat told me about what happened. He was like, here's my clip. And so the clip is from his perspective. He like runs, jiggle peeks, sees me, re-peeks, shoots, misses, and then tracks to my head. And I'm just standing there like a moron, bro, not doing anything because I don't see him.
You need to, that's a perfect thing that you should revive a vintage Veritas tweet from fucking 2018, which is, think of this the next time you think you encounter a cheater, and it was me running down glass hallway, encountering a guy. I go full prone, and kill him. like basically drop shot at him.
Yep.
And on his screen, he's just shooting me in the forehead, shooting me in the forehead, shooting me in the forehead, and then he falls over dying.
Yep.
So like,
yep.
when you think
genuinely,
cheater,
it made me rethink everything. Because I was like, how many times have I been dying today in Arena where I'm like, dude, what the hell? The desync's so crazy. And then you're like, maybe it's not, bro. Maybe that mother trucker just didn't exist on your screen.
Well, I mean, the thing is that like the ultimate desync is that he hasn't come around the corner yet on your screen,
Yeah.
which is indistinguishable from invisible.
But here's the thing, though. When watching his clip and my clip, the audio makes sense. I heard him running in front of me. I thought he was on the other side of the cover I was looking at, though.
Oh, gotcha.
So his footsteps.
The game rendered the audio and not.
I'm telling you, I have used this phrase. This wipe, we are in the upside down, bro. When have I ever told you that the audio made sense? But that was the only thing that made sense in a fight. Like, what? I was crashing out. That one was rough. But other than that,
no, you have to give it to Tarkov for being consistent. There's always something that doesn't make sense.
True. Just when you get used to expecting to not trust the audio, that'll be the only thing that works in a fight.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. So Battle Pass is cool. And Tarkov is kind of boring. So, honestly, I'll probably be on it a little bit most days, grinding out dailies and trying to get the Battle Pass done. Like, that's pretty cool.
Word.
Yep.
There's been a little bit of fun going on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Out of nowhere, I was scrolling Twitter and
yep.
And my Twitter feed for once looked completely different than it did the last few weeks. And in this case, it was just all of the Tarkov people all talking about one thing, the same thing, and seemingly, at least from what I saw, kind of unanimous. And it was I guess there's some drama, there's some controversy over, accusations, asterisk. These are accusations, innocent until proven guilty, all those things, of a content creator named The Burnt Peanut. Who, have you heard of him?
Yeah.
Have you seen any?
Seen every one of his shorts. They're comedy gold.
What's really interesting is that I had never heard of him until like a week or 2 weeks ago.
Really?
When someone, I don't remember even why. I don't remember. Someone came in and said something. I don't know if like he referenced something or someone said something in chat, or I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But they were like, you should check out his channel. And I ended up pulling up his like YouTube channel for a short. I really wish I could remember exactly what it was. But all of that's to say that like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I organically started to come across people mentioning it in my chat as well as in my YouTube feed. Yeah. Which is going to be relevant. But the accusations, I just realized this, I got halfway through the sentence and never finished the sentence. The Burnt Peanut, allegedly viewbotting basically on Twitch, because he's been popping off. I don't know if he's live now, but his numbers have been like insane. Yeah. And a massive portion of the community is basically fairly unequivocally calling viewbotting. I have to say, I hate to do the thing that everyone hates me for, but everything I know about software engineering, about front end and back end website development around things like how you update, the viewer numbers and, API information that is accessible by third-party apps like Twitch Tracker and all this other stuff. Everything I know about all of the idiosyncrasies about how that can all work, not necessarily how it does work at any particular moment in time, tells me that none of the people that I see so confidently pointing to one or two things saying that is proof. There's just there are a number of explanations. Yeah. They could be changes in how Twitch works. Because this is something, I don't know if you've noticed it, but I've noticed over time, and there comes in chunks of 3 or 4 or 5 months where like the behavior is different, where I'll go live and I'll see viewers 0, for a while, and then it jumps up.
Yeah.
Sometimes I hit live and it's like instantly hits a number. There's a million ways in which that could happen.
Yeah.
And that's just one example.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, I just don't think anyone really has enough information to be as confident as they are to, especially when it comes to accusing someone of something that's effectively a crime from the content creator.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like plagiarism or viewbotting or, so that's like the first piece, is that I know nothing. I don't watch this content.
Yeah.
I hate Tarkov right now. I'm not playing the game. I'm not paying attention to the category. I give 0 fucks about any viewership numbers, anywhere, anything.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make it clear that like I'm just trying to be as objective and fair as possible.
Yeah.
And from all the things that people, screenshot things and they post things, I'm just not convinced. And then heard a couple of challenges to some specific things, some specific claims that were made kind of commonly, that were, again, quite confidently asserted as if they were like gotchas, that when I looked into those, it, to me, proved the opposite.
Yeah.
And by proved, I mean like just made it more plausible that botting isn't necessarily like the most likely explanation.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to defend anyone. I'm not trying to accuse anyone.
Yeah.
I just think this is a conversation where people who are being objective and who are remotely knowledgeable about some of these things should be able to just have like a normal conversation and not have it be drama engagement farming, have it not be about jealousy or any of that shit.
Yeah.
I just tried to look at this from the perspective of like analytics and, as my own curiosity as a content creator. Because historically I find a lot of content creators, I mean, they're like, not for nothing, but content creators are just normal average people, and normal average people are all just about 100 IQ. But I'm only half kidding. One of the more common things I see is that people will succeed.
Yeah.
And they very confidently will attribute it to like 1 or 2 very specific things without acknowledging timing or luck or coincidental things or, changes in the algorithm or whatever. They'll say it's because I grinded, over and over and over again and or whatever, when a lot of times the things they attribute their success or other people's success or lack thereof to is just not it.
Yeah.
But so one of the things that stuck out to me that I wanted to touch on, just because I thought it was interesting from an analytics perspective, was one guy was basically saying, and this was like kind of being repeated a bunch. Let me find it. The claim was, so actually this originated with Glorious, because Glorious is going back and forth with a few of people. And he said, Glorious said he became a bigger streamer than Landmark in 4 months from nothing, with like a skull emoji, which is like the new emoji I'm seeing all over the place. The skull is back. And so I responded because I was really close to the Landmark phenomena. Landmark was basically like a no name when I had been streaming for a few months. And I was in my stream team at the time, it was Slush Puppy, Ghost Freak, Pestily, Anton. And I don't remember if we had a podcast or what, but I remember all of us together, and like I probably 80% of the total viewership that went over from us all hosting Landmark was from Pestily. because he was just one of the bigger names in the category at the time.
Yeah.
And that was around the same time that the pandemic started.
Yeah.
This is literally March of 2020.
Yeah.
And not long after drops and all this stuff. So that all happened. He went from being someone who most of us had never heard of. We heard some cool things. We're like, oh, let's go host this guy. We heard he's like crazy good at the game.
Yep.
And then he was partnered like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And like it was like overnight he blew up out of nowhere.
Yeah. And I think the sentiment you're trying to get to is like if the thought process is this guy became a bigger streamer than Landmark in 4 months, it's important to remember Landmark became Landmark in 4 months.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Where it's like Landmark was probably grinding for a lot longer than 4 months, but there was kind of this like you said, a bunch of different things. There was this lightning rod moment where he got a couple hosts. It was at a good time because COVID was happening. And as I remember it, one of those times where like all you guys hosted him was when he got his last kill for Tracksuit. The first wipe Tracksuit was in the game.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure
he was like maybe not the world first on Tracksuit, but he was like one of the first anyone ever saw get Tracksuit. You know what I mean? So it was like there were a lot of things and he got like, and I'm not even saying he didn't deserve it. Like he was positioned well. He was insanely good. Like he did deserve it. You know what I mean?
This is the thing. The reason why like there's 8 billion fucking streamers in the Tarkov category, right?
Yeah.
The ones that have the lowest viewership or the highest viewership, it doesn't mean they're like viewer
that
numbers
doesn't value.
are not.
Yeah. They don't associate to value.
Because here's the thing: you can be the most incredible player in the world, but when you are 758th down in a list, where most people have already followed somebody in the category, so they don't even go to the category list.
Yeah.
And if they do, they'll never. Then no one will ever click on your name. It doesn't matter how good you are, right? And I think that was largely where Landmark was at that point. Is he was just insane. No one knew about him.
Yeah.
So that when these hosts happened, it wasn't like he was given anything other than it was like he was given the like marketing opportunity that we aren't given. You know, a small business can take out a fucking billboard.
Yeah.
But like Twitch streamers, you just can't do that.
Yeah.
It's like, right? So
yeah, you
have to rely on other platforms and algorithms and whatever. So anyway, so what I wrote was in response to Glorious, I said, to be fair, Landmark basically blew up overnight, quote unquote, from nothing himself, passing pretty much every one of the bigger Tarkov streamers within an impressively short span of time. I don't know anything about the current situation you're referencing, but basically like what you're describing relative to Landmark is exactly what Landmark's growth relative to everyone else was back in the day.
Yeah.
He came out of nowhere. Like Landmark was like a new guy when I was like established in, my like C tier Tarkov, status. Yeah. No one knew who he was. And shortly after that, he became one of the most famous streamers ever. And and that's because of timing and circumstance and skill and having a fucking bunch of cool, sick guns in the background and putting on a particular kind of show that people
connected with 100%. And that's the thing is like, if the only argument, and I'm not saying this is the only argument. Once again, you had to basically educate me before the podcast that, on a lot of this, because I'm, I don't really care. I'm not in the drama either. But if the argument is he blew up too fast, that's not enough, right? Like timing alone isn't a thing, because like I've been streaming longer than Landmark. So that would, like, you know what I mean? If that was the only thing, it's like he's 10x bigger than me, he's got to be viewbotting. Like that's how that mentality starts, and that doesn't take us anywhere, right? Like,
but that's not the logic. People try to they look at things and they interpret it. And I have some graphs I want to show that'll kind of demonstrate, I think, like the significant points here. But yeah, like what you're talking about is exactly right.
Yeah.
And so one guy responded to me basically saying, nah, check the charts. Peanut's growth was significantly faster, period. Significantly.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Let's take a look. When you look at this was the November to April for Landmark.
Yeah, 2019 to 2020. Yeah.
This was like his breakout kind of area. If you'll notice down here, his first streams were basically like November of 2019.
Yeah.
So Landmark wasn't grinding forever.
Yeah.
Unless he had a different channel or something, as far as I can tell, the data only goes back to November. And he went from this down here, this is like 5 viewer average streams, to then within like 4 months, he was averaging
thousands.
Yeah, I think like was it 1,700 or 2,700. So in 4 months, he went from literally no one knew who he was to one of the biggest streamers on the platform in 4 months, out of nowhere. And so now also consider that I even wrote down some additional shit here. He did that in 2019 when there were 7,000 viewers on average total in the whole category.
Oh, in the whole category of Escape from Tarkov?
And 300-ish viewers per stream average. Now, most of that's front-loaded in like 3 names, basically, right? Like everyone is like 2 viewers, 5 viewers, whatever. Okay. So then now let's take a look at Peanut. So this was the same actual month span, November to April. Okay. It just so happens it's 2024 to 2025.
Yeah.
But this was like his breakout area.
Mm-hmm.
This was at 600 viewers. He had been at 600 viewers.
Yeah.
Which is like what I was at my sort of peak. 600 viewers for months and months and months and months and months and months and months. And then drops hit.
Mm-hmm.
And
he probably had a bunch of stuff go crazy on YouTube and TikTok.
Other stuff that we'll get to, right? And now he's sitting at about 6,000 average.
Yeah.
So Landmark went from 5 to 2,700, and he went from
600
to 6,000. So 10x versus, and I'm being generous if I just say like Landmark was at like 100 or whatever. We're talking like 10x to 20x growth. So Landmark was like at least double as fast. And now also keep in mind too, remember how it was 7,000 viewers in the category in 2019? There's 37,000 now. So there's 5 times the viewers out there. And the average viewer per stream average number is double what it was back then. So, and not for nothing, but let's just take a look real quick at Landmark's TikTok.
Yeah.
So, we're talking 50 views, 165 views, 2,700. And this is one of the most famous content creators on the planet, right?
Yeah.
300, 70K. Clearly, that one popped off.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's probably largely because of the red fucking foregrip. It just stands out. All the other ones are dark and whatever. 3,000, 10,000, 400. Okay. Well, let's look at the burnt peanut. 782,000, 800,000, 18K, 23K, 30K, 270,000, 170,000, 288,000, 500,000. Like, and he's been grinding for years. So the other thing that you don't see when all these streamers are talking about this stuff, and again, I'm not even saying he's innocent. I'm just saying this is all relevant, compelling information.
Exactly.
Is that he streamed for 2 years, averaging 7 viewers. The whole time streaming on TikTok, putting out shorts on YouTube and on TikTok. And you can see he was getting like 10, 15,000 views on all of his TikToks until about like January, February of 2025, where they suddenly went up 5x. and then skyrocketed up from there, which perfectly corresponds with his crazy growth.
Yeah.
And the go ahead.
Well, I was just saying that's how it works sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? Like Thor, Pirate Software was like basically what I'm saying is some people would be like, yeah, but that doesn't make sense. Like he blew up on those platforms because he started viewbotting. And it's like, that's just like, sometimes the algorithm just like Thor was putting out those shorts where he was just talking for like a year and then one hit a quadrillion views. And then Thor's averaging 32,000 viewers now.
Yeah.
In that 4-month span, you could probably do November to April of Thor, and he probably went from like 300 viewers to like 30,000. Sometimes the algorithm externally from Twitch hits you with the blessing, bro.
Yeah, the biggest factor that determines viewership, it's not grinding, it's not what grinding does, what streaming 14-hour days. Everybody's like, yeah, but you know, Landmark was streaming 14-hour days, and like that's not.
That was to his detriment.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that there's like mixed
no,
stuff
of course, yeah.
But to the extent that it is helpful, it's only because what it's doing is it's increasing the longevity of your discoverability.
Yeah.
People aren't going to find you when you're offline. They'll find you when you're online, right? When you're streaming. So, but what's more significant than having a few more people come across your name on some Twitch home feed that half the people never look at?
Yeah.
Is your content with your link as the top thing to your Twitch stream getting put in front of 1 million people.
Yeah.
It's discoverability.
Yeah.
And another example of how insane the discoverability is, and this just goes to show you, like, a lot of people will interpret these kinds of things as like, you know, X person made X person or what, and it's like never about that.
Yeah.
It's never about that. But remember how back in May of 2019, I made a video called "I've been looting wrong this whole time."
Oh yeah.
That video has had since then 760,000 views, and I had shouted out a streamer that I had just discovered, Quattro Ace, who, you know, had been, you know, he was kind of like, people were talking about him, and he was like, you know, like Landmark, like crazy cracked at the game, really good. Well, guess what else happened in May 19th of 2019? Quattro Ace's viewership doubled, and it only went up from there.
Yeah.
He was fairly stagnant. Yeah, because these platforms suck balls when it comes to discoverability. He was sitting at like 250, 300 viewers, and literally on the 19th of May, he went up to 300, 400, 500, 600 viewers.
Yeah.
And this is when like my viewership was like here.
Yeah.
So he leapfrogged past me, and first of all, my numbers never went down because there's thousands of people on the platform. It wasn't like he didn't steal viewers from anybody. It was just new people that were now fans. Yeah. Right. So to me, this is like one of the best favorite things I've ever done as a content creator was shout out Quattro. Yeah. Just because he even came to me and was like, dude, what you did like made a big difference. Yeah. And it's like, we could like all be fucking millionaires on these platforms. Yeah. You know, if all of us weren't such fucking knuckleheads and knew how to work together and, you know,
and so, once again, it's important because I know that these conversations get away from us, not you and me, but if you're listening to this, I can understand if you're like, wow, these guys are 100% convinced that this guy's not viewbotting. That's not the case. He could be. The point is, I don't know. And if you're saying he's viewbotting because my left big toe hurts, it's my responsibility to say that has nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he's not viewbotting, but it's not because your left big toe hurts. And so that's obviously an extreme example. A popular consensus was he grew too fast. And what we're saying is that there's nuance to that. And people can grow fast for organic reasons. And he was grinding content.
Every sign
and
of that.
He was providing something new, brand new, right? He's not being a Chad. He's being funny. He's being weird. He's dressed up in a peanut costume. There are 10 times more people in the Tarkov category watching views. People are kind of tired of people grinding. Like, there are reasons. Now, we've seen everything happen under the sun. We've seen people that have several thousands of organic viewers, Viewbot a couple thousand more because they're addicted to the max win. We've seen people with 100 viewers Viewbotting only 20 of them because they want to kind of Viewbot slowly and work their way up. We've seen people literally be like, I don't give a fuck anymore. And they averaged 89 viewers. And the next day and henceforth, they were at 1,200 viewers or 2,000 viewers. We've seen it all. It's very possible he could be supplementing 1 or 2K of those viewers via Viewbotting. It's very possible he's not Viewbotting. But the evidence, I think what you're trying to say, that's brought forth isn't compelling enough to convict. You know what I mean?
No,
like
I would need to work at Twitch and have access to the back end metrics and to be able to like look at IP addresses and patterns of botnet fucking traffic and all kinds of stuff to even have a chance of figuring this out. And like, here's the thing. It's also possible that he's completely innocent of this and he's getting viewbotted by somebody else.
That actually happens. That shit happens.
Like a fan, bro. Literally 2 days ago, I pulled it up on stream. I should have clipped it and I could have showed it. All of a sudden, out of my peripheral vision, I thought there was like a mouse or something because it was just like motion. And I look over, and my activity feed was blah, 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 follow. I got hit with like 500 follows that were all created October 19th, 20, like the same account. I don't know who did it. I didn't fucking buy follows. I don't know why. I literally reported it to Twitch and was like, here, this whole batch, it's all fake. But like, but you know, imagine if someone, I can't ignore the fact that like, imagine suddenly like while I'm doing this variety streaming and right now I'm not even trying to grow my stream. I'm just fucking chilling while I'm working on stuff to keep my mental health sane, right? Imagine someone wants to ultimate troll me and they start viewbotting me in a way that's like obnoxious and obvious and then but like then I start getting sponsorship opportunities and all these things happen and it's like here's the thing. How would I know that wasn't like, oh, the Billy Mitchell video just popped off? Or like, how am I supposed to know that it isn't even necessarily organic? You know, like part of you kind of wants to say like, no, I've been grinding for years. Maybe this is the success I deserve. So there's so many possibilities. He could be innocent. He could be guilty. He could be, you know, like complicit in something he's not doing. There's a million things. We don't have any information.
Exactly.
Everybody should just kind of like pump the brakes. And the problem is that like, if he or anyone else is viewbotting and no one says anything, nothing's going to happen.
Exactly.
So I understand.
Yes. And that was what I was going to say is like, normally in these situations, I bookend my conversation with who cares, stop caring so much. But genuinely, this is a cancer on the site, right? People that viewbot genuinely, put themselves in a position to gain an advantage. They get more exposure and they take that exposure from the people that would be there in the listing. It is a cancer on the site. It's very hard to battle. And so this isn't a time where I go, who cares? Just stop caring. I get it. We should be fighting back on this stuff, but we have to be able to do it the right way. We have to say, oh, he grew really fast. Is that real or is that maybe viewbotting? That's like a totally fair thing to look at the burnt peanuts thing and wonder. But then, you know, ask or look at the charts, you know, Steam charts or no, what's it called? The Sully Gnome and Steam Hatchet and all these things are there where you can look and you can compare, like for sure. So like this viewbotting is horrendous. If he is, he should get kicked off the platform. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm there. You know what I mean? We just got to make sure we're doing it the right way.
Yeah, it genuinely, honestly, in my opinion, the biggest problem with viewbotting is that everyone always permanently forever on the platform will make less money. Because what happens is these people get giga sponsorships and the people who are paying $10, $20, $30,000, these corporations with the idea that there's going to be value here when there's no value, they recognize like we did all these ad campaigns with these big guys. These influencers are fucking useless. We get no return on it. And then so ad revenue goes down, sponsorships go down, and it hurts everyone. So all the people that are like, I don't understand why anyone cares. I'm sorry, you just haven't spent 4 seconds thinking about the very basic thing that like it hurts everyone.
For sure.
if when a third of the baseball players are all doing steroids, it's all cool for a little bit until like no one wants to watch baseball anymore because everything they were hyped about for 3 months was all a lie.
Yeah.
And everyone after that gets witch hunted, and it's a massive mess. It sucks for everyone. It's bad.
Yes.
But we can't just witch hunt based on dumb shit. And I will say quickly, the last element of this that is what people point to that is perhaps maybe one of the more compelling things, that it's a pattern that you historically have seen with viewbotting. But that is also something that, like, again, I think it's possible that it can be explained innocently or by things that have nothing to do, with anything. And that is the spike in viewership in the X minutes since you go live. Yeah. And it's the general idea is like you go live and you just kind of expect like a sort of a gradual upswing until you hit your thing. And then usually it's like kind of subtle down, or, maybe a little up. And, so people point to the fact that, like he gets like, 1,900 or 2,000 viewers within like the first 2 minutes of going live. Yeah. That absolutely could just be he hit the bot number like too quickly, like, like for sure, right? It's possible, or someone else is doing that. But also one of the things that, like, the first thing that came to mind was the TikTok Zoomer Gen Alpha generation that's like growing up over the last couple of years into Tarkov as like a slightly more mature game. Now that they have like $60 to drop on a game, and it's not just like Fortnite that all these kids are playing. They're watching a meme guy and a character making funny, goofy fucking animal noises while not taking the game seriously, getting millions and millions and millions of views. Those are exactly the kinds of people that are going to sit in the peanut waiting room and just be waiting there all day with a tab open all day. Yeah. And they get the push notification, they hit F5, and boom, they're all there. Yeah. Because there are days where these days I'm averaging like 75 viewers. Yeah. There are days where I hit go live, and literally within 10 seconds, I get 2 people, 3 people posting in my chat. Yeah. And the number is 35. Yeah. Sometimes it's 0 for 10 minutes. And then someone says, hey, and I'm like, did you just get it? When did you get your push notification? They said just now. Why did it take 10 minutes for Twitch to send out a push? I don't know. Yeah. But sometimes people are there because they've sometimes the push notifications go out and people click on it, and sometimes they don't go out for an hour, and then when they do, they click on it. It's like, yeah. So, the assumption that there is a certain trend to viewer numbers within a certain minute, like that's all based on your experience in your limited time, in your category, with your viewership, with your community, that's not to say it doesn't mean something, but it might not mean something. It might not mean what you think. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. I just want us to let's not shoot first and ask questions later. Yeah. Let's ask questions first. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, and I'm pointing at you, every fucking Tarkov streamer, every one of you, every single one of you, you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. And that includes me. I'm not putting myself above. Yeah. I'm just recognizing that, I don't know. I worked 10 years professionally as an engineer surrounded by people who are way fucking smarter than me. The moment I make a claim that I'm not certain of, I look like an asshole when I get called out by a bunch of smart people for being like, you didn't fucking think about the correlation of the blah, 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 and the whatever. And I'm like, it's fucking embarrassing. Yeah. And that's the way that engineers are. That's the way that scientists are. They're always deferring to other people, and they're not willing to really commit and put their stake down until there's really good fucking reason. Yep. So let's just do that. Yep. Let's do that. You know what else we should do? We should take a quick second and thank the second sponsor of this episode, and that is The Perfect Gene. And holy, were they not messing around when they named it. That's a bold claim to make. Could you imagine just naming your restaurant the best hamburger you've ever had in your life? That's crazy. I was just about to say, every single coffee shop has best coffee in the world. Yeah. this is the one coffee shop that's like, yeah, man, you do have the perfect jeans.
It's insane. So it's getting to that, once again, we've been saying this for a while, it's getting to that transition weather, jeans and a t-shirt or something like that. If you're looking for a new wardrobe for the spring or going into the summer, man, the perfect jean is insane. What's always bothered me is that nobody sells size 30 length jeans. I'm a 32 by 30, but everybody only sells 32 length. And I went to a department store. I was like, do you have these in 30s? And they're like, no, our corporate doesn't sell in 30 length because like the average height of a man. And I was like, bro, are you calling me short? Come on, bro. But I got a long waist. I need 30 length, bro. And so being able to get literally any size you want, any waist and any length, a bunch of different colors. It's the perfect blend of stretch, but not like, there was this like fad of stretchy jeans that like you couldn't even call them like jean material anymore. It was like spandex painted like jeans. These feel like jeans, but they're stretchy and they're comfortable and they're perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I usually, for a long time, I couldn't find jeans that were good, and I didn't want to go and spend like $300 on, like, I didn't know what to find, because even like Wranglers weren't cutting it.
Yep.
They never really fit right for my like average guy body for whatever reason. And especially over the last few years, becoming more and more of a dad without any kids, physically speaking. Half the jeans I either have holes in them, the belt loops are popping off, or they just are either too tight or not very comfortable. And the 3 pairs of perfect jeans I have, I don't think I'll ever, like, literally, I will never need to buy another pair of jeans.
Yeah.
They're so comfortable. They fit perfectly. They look good. And like, what more can you want? They're comfortable, durable, and you look good.
There's like 12 colors, an unbelievable amount of waist sizes, unbelievable amount of length sizes. You can get khaki, you can get the OG stretch, you can get 99% cotton, you can get athletic, slim, thick, boot cut, skinny. It's the perfect jean, and you can get it in any size or any freaking thing that you want. It's phenomenal, dude. It's great. Also, the perfect jean doesn't stop there. They've revolutionized t-shirts as well. T-shirts with just enough stretch to hide that beer belly while accentuating your arms and chest for a flawless look. I need to get some of their t-shirts. That's insane. Always has free shipping, free exchanges, and free returns. You can have peace of mind knowing that your order is completely risk-free. It's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans. Go to theperfectjean.nyc. Our listeners get 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use code POGCAST15. That is code POGCAST15 at checkout. 50% off, 15% off for new customers at theperfectjean.nyc. Promo code PODCAST15. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Get rid of your khakis and get the perfect jean. Bada bing. Boom. Wow. So yeah, that's the Tarkov stuff in all of its glory. I was gone last week. I was out on a secret mission. I was over in Seattle at Bungie HQ for the second time, playtesting Marathon. With Master Chief. Dude, it was pretty sick. Playtesting Marathon, an upcoming extraction shooter game made by Bungie. I can't say much. I know that sucks, that's kind of like a blue ball. I know that, there's a lot of hype around the game right now. What's exciting is they announced this Saturday. So by the time you're listening to this, it'll have been a few days ago. But on Saturday, they're doing an official gameplay reveal. They announced the game a long time ago. There hasn't been a lot of information. People, you have a lot of people that are already over the extraction shooters. You have a lot of people that are like kind of desperate for something new and fresh in the genre. And I know it's kind of a blue balls to just be like, it's coming. You know what I mean? So, but Saturday, twitch.tv/ I think the Marathon the game or something like that. They're going to be doing a gameplay reveal and doing some cool stuff. So, but that was where I was last week, and it was fun. It was fun. It's always fun to take a week to like get off the internet. You know what I mean? We went like 2 days early, and I took my wife. And so like we went out in Seattle and did the dude, time to my wife is an hour 39. Holy.
Wait, has it only been an hour 39 or not?
An hour 39, yeah.
Oh. I thought it was like 2:39.
Oh, what? No. So we got to do like Pike's Place and some of the cool Seattle stuff. So it was cool. And then I got to spend a few days out there doing that. So
Hell yeah,
phenomenal
dude.
experience. You know,
I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, if you're interested, you know, keep an eye out on this weekend. But yeah, it was fun. It was good stuff.
Hell yeah, dude. I've been I hit a wall with Death Stranding where I was just like, the game is cool. It's really awesome. I love the vibe. I love everything. But like, it's kind of overstaying its welcome.
Gotcha.
Like, I was really enjoying it. I thought I was like approaching, you know, sort of the climax of the game. And I saw that there's like 15 chapters and I just hit like chapter 5 and I'm like, okay. Like, so I just kind of was like, I think I'll watch a video essay on this.
Fair.
You know, yeah, it was a little snooze festy for me. And honestly, like if I wasn't streaming, if I was like watching a stream or like watching Netflix or whatever, it would be totally a game I could like autopilot.
Yeah.
But I was like playing just like,
yeah.
I can't possibly be any more fucking boring if I'm falling asleep.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah. That's totally fair. That's totally fair.
So I moved over and I've been playing Schedule 1.
Bro. This game.
Which is honestly, dude, it's crazy how this game is. It's functionally indistinguishable from Supermarket Simulator. It's the same exact game.
Yeah.
The
but
same
just
exact
about selling drugs, right?
Exactly. It's the same exact set of things going through your head over like I got customers that need a thing, but I've got boxes that are getting delivered and I need to put them on the shelves, but I can't put them on the shelves because I got to take out the trash and it's just that. Except it's like I ran out of horse cum, so I need to go and get that and the chili peppers so that I can continue making the meth. And this crackhead woman came up to me and was like, I really need it. You know, I really need it now. And I told her kind of to fuck off because I didn't have anything on me. So she shanked me and then I beat her to death with a baseball bat. And then tomorrow she'll forget about it. And so can I please have 500 buckets of horse cum, please?
Oh my
to make my
God.
But for those who are, I realize without any context, people are still like, what? Basically, you can like when you're making either pot, meth, or I haven't gotten to cocaine yet. You can like lace it with, you know, like Breaking Bad. What's his name? Jesse Pinkman's. Did you watch Breaking Bad?
Oh yeah.
Jesse Pinkman's like signature thing was what, the chili powder or whatever. Well, you could use like chilies, but you can also use like battery acid and like gasoline and like donuts and bananas and Red Bull and horse cum. It's ethically sourced.
Wow. Okay.
Think about it. Yeah. So, but you can like buy property and you can buy vehicles and you hire dealers and you go through the process of, I mean, like literally you're like pouring like phosphorus and acid on top of like, you know, fucking sleeping pills, mixing it up, putting it in the thing, hitting it with a hammer to shatter it. And like, you know, there's all the steps along the way and it's got some Satisfactory-esque things about automation and it's been pretty chill. The soundtrack is dope as fuck.
Yeah, that song you showed was crazy.
Yeah. The only downside is that like they play a song and then like you play for 20 minutes until the song plays the next time. It's on like a cycle where it's like maybe at the beginning of the day it starts playing, or like when you start cooking. I think maybe I think there's triggers. I just turn the music off and I open up the OST in Spotify and I just have it on repeat shuffle.
Nice.
Just so that there's always music playing because I don't want to be like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's not an ASMR stream.
That's so funny.
So yeah, that's been cool. That's been chill. I probably will get bored with it after maybe 3 or 4 more streams. They're coming out with still like early access. I think it was only like $9 or something. It's worth it. It's fun. It's chill. People are having fun with it. And they have a roadmap with a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. But one thing I do want to talk a little bit about, because everybody has been asking me, did you hear anything about the Karl Jobst, Billy Mitchell?
No,
lawsuit?
I saw you were streaming it, and I popped in for a few minutes, but I don't know what happened or like.
Let me just. So like, for reference, Karl is like a homie of mine.
Yeah.
I've made music for him. We talk a bunch. I really like Karl. I have a ton of respect for Karl. This lawsuit, after the verdict, his like largely online right now, his reputation is completely in the gutter.
No.
Like trashed, like canceled, like
no.
And there's things that need to be said that haven't been said yet. I'm going to say some of it that I think probably maybe Karl will end up talking about. He's basically making like a response video to explain. So for everyone that doesn't know, I'm not going to explain who Billy Mitchell is or whatever. Watch my video on Billy Mitchell. It's the only video of mine that's got 2 million views and it's still climbing. It's like my best work. Watch it. You'll learn a little bit about it. But basically, Billy Mitchell is this disgraced gamer, arcade retro guy that was accused of cheating by using an emulator and allegedly in Minecraft. And got taken off of leaderboards, and basically anyone who ever said or did anything that he didn't like, he sued. Most of which for defamation. Most of which either like never went to trial or there was some kind of settlement or whatever. Okay, so now Karl Jobst is an Australian YouTuber that makes a ton of speedrunning videos, like gaming history-esque kind of videos. But he also covers some cheating related stuff. And one of his like mainstays on his channel is talking about Billy Mitchell and all of the things about him. Basically, like there's a few Billy Mitchell videos out there, but in my opinion, the body of work that is Billy Mitchell is like 100 Karl Jobst videos in my video.
Yeah.
And my video is like a ton of what's in his videos.
Put into one video.
The essence with a whole bunch of other work and analysis and technical stuff on top of that, put into one thing. I will say Karl did say that I had the best Billy Mitchell video ever made. So coming from the other guy, the guy who makes every other Billy Mitchell video is, it's humbling. But so Karl got sued by Billy, and here's where things get complicated. There were basically when there's a lawsuit, you get, and I haven't like done research or prep for this, so like if you're a lawyer, don't fucking at me. I'm getting across the ideas. The terminology might not be right, but you get like a notice. It's like a piece of paper that is like a, almost like a cease and desist-esque kind of thing. That's like notice of a lawsuit. Karl got 3.
Okay.
At different times, I believe. Now, the first 2 were for defamation over the claims that he cheated at Donkey Kong using the emulation, the thing that he got banned for. Okay. Now, around that time, now, first of all, Notch, the guy who made Minecraft, literally ended up like reaching out to him and I think maybe helped him with legal fees or something at some point. But Karl, I don't know what his involvement was with the first one. There was like a GoFundMe that was like legal defense fund for people being sued by Billy.
Gotcha.
But then Karl also ended up having his own legal defense fund that he was trying to basically crowdsource. Because like it's lots of money. Even if you're innocent, you can get completely and utterly fucked and your life can get ruined if someone just has like a lawyer that's willing to make your life miserable. So it's completely understandable that he would crowdsource. If Billy wants to sue me, and I got my lawyer's information right at the beginning of my video, and he knows how to get in contact with us. But if he were to sue me, the first thing I would do is make a fucking GoFundMe.
Yeah.
So Karl did that, raised, I don't remember how much money got raised. What ended up happening was like Billy ended up, I think, like dropping the first lawsuit. And Karl basically was like, all right, well, I'm going to continue to use what's in like the pot for like the next lawsuit. And at some point, a third lawsuit came in.
Okay. And
the third lawsuit was a little bit different.
Okay.
There was a YouTuber named Apollo Legend.
Okay.
Apollo Legend was younger. I think he was like in his early 20s, maybe. He made speedrunning related, almost like summoning salt.
Okay.
Speedrunning related like video game history videos. Okay. He also covered Billy Mitchell. Talked a little bit about Billy and the cheating accusations, and there's some memes and stuff that he was involved in, like wearing a Billy outfit and like showing up to like interview and like ask questions, and it was kind of funny. But now it's it gets a little dark and sad because he had some health issues, was going through, I think, some mental health crises, whatever. It's like no one's fucking business on the internet, kind of. What he was going through, but ultimately at some point a few years back, he unfortunately took his life. Now, not long after that, because Billy has made enemies with like 1 million people who used to be his friends. Text messages came out, and this was actually, I think, before that happened with Apollo. I think this was like false Reddit rumors beforehand. But it was Billy reaching out to, I forget who it was, someone saying like, rumor has it, and actually multiple people, rumor has it Apollo Legend is dead. Like, I think his like wife saw it on Reddit or something. And he's like, I'm paraphrasing, okay? But he was like something along the lines of like, I'll try and contain my giddy laughter, like my glee, for like, a 50-something-year-old man, effectively celebrating the death of a kid who had the hubris to make fun of him for cheating online.
Christ.
Now, Billy, before all that went down with Apollo, Billy sued Apollo Legend for $1 million defamation. Like a 20-something-year-old with health problems and probably like a bunch of debt and whatever, sued Billy. Billy sued Apollo for $1 million for basically calling Billy a cheater. That got settled out of court. Now, typically when there's settlements like this, the details aren't public.
Yeah.
Right? So the actual details of the settlement were, and this came out in Karl's trial that we just heard the verdict of last week. Okay, I guess it was like a $250,000 raise for Karl in the GoFundMe. So Billy retained all of the rights basically to all of the videos Apollo made about Billy.
Gotcha.
The videos got privatized, so like Billy was basically like any of the monetization still attached. Went to him. The videos were private, and Apollo wasn't allowed to make any more content about Billy. I don't know if he had to like apologize. I'm not really sure, but like that's the general kind of gist. Now, I forget the exact details. It's a little fuzzy. I'm waiting for Karl's response video because these are the things that he needs to say that no one knows about. Is that I think like maybe Karl heard through the grapevine, like I know Keemstar might have been involved, like maybe like rumors or something, but basically Karl I think had been under the impression that like Apollo had to pay a bunch of money as a part of this settlement, which ended up not being true. But in one of the videos that that Karl made, he ended up talking about what was the series of events that now I don't know. I don't remember the language. It's been so long. I don't remember how any insinuations, how they might have been worded, how that might have been made. But basically, and you can draw the obvious line where you think, Karl says, Billy cheated. Apollo made a video about him. Apollo had a bunch of health and money issues. Billy Mitchell sued him for $1 million. A few months later, he took his life.
Yeah.
There are obvious like implications, whether they were explicit or not. I don't remember. I don't remember. I'm just waiting. I'm not. I don't have the time to go fucking digging through like internet history for this stuff. So the third lawsuit was Billy Mitchell suing Karl for defamation again, but in this case it was for effectively the accusation / insinuation that he was in some way responsible for the suicide of a young guy, young content creator, and on the basis of it hurting Billy's reputation, when whether or not he had a reputation to
be
hurt and whatever, that was all a part of the trial and whatever. But now Billy ended up dropping lawsuit number 1 and lawsuit number 2.
Gotcha.
But Karl had made multiple videos already talking about, hey, update with the trial, update with the lawsuit, blah, 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 blah. He was raising money. So now let's fast forward to the verdict. And the verdict was Karl was found guilty of defamation and basically has been ordered to pay, I want to say like, let me see, like $200,000-$300,000 or something like that, like $200,000 or $300,000, plus maybe more. I don't remember exactly. I'm like scrolling frantically through Twitter to find the number, but like let's just say it's like $250,000. Oh yeah, I think it was slightly less than that, because it was in Canadian and whatever. So then, of course, what the internet hears is, oh, Karl just lost a lawsuit, and was ordered to pay $250,000.
Yeah.
To Billy. So, and what the logic and the reasoning is the verdict in court is the truth, is the de facto way it should be interpreted. There's no nuance. There's no appeal. So, therefore, Karl, and this is me in air quotes quoting the internet, okay?
Yeah.
Karl accused Billy, defaming him, saying that, he killed a kid, basically.
Yeah.
But he raised $250,000 in legal funds under the guise of it being about cheating accusations. So he scammed all of his community out of $250,000.
What a rough.
So, like, again, there was lawsuit number 1, GoFundMe, let's raise money, you're paying for stuff. Lawsuit number 2, cheating, raising all the money. Lawsuit number 3, defamation over another thing that's, like, whether it's questionable, whether it's problematic, like, that's all separate, right? First 2 lawsuits go, and this was over the course of like 3 years.
Yeah,
like,
it's not a quick thing.
And not a quick thing. And how are you gonna update all the people who watched all of your YouTube videos that get millions of views and all of the people that contributed to, this is so fucking complicated. And in my opinion, anyone who's should be willing to donate to help the defense of this whole thing. I don't know. It's one of those things, you should either just say, oh, okay, well, this is kind of a shitty series of events. The idea that he scammed people, that he misled people, I just genuinely think is not fair. It's not fair. It's just one of those things, to have, a guy who was pretty much generally respected, super popular, everyone kind of loved the guy, to now all of a sudden overnight, it's just memes and calling him a scammer and calling him a rat and all of this stuff. I don't know. It's just this crazy, complicated, nuanced thing. And at the end of the day, I'm sure there are some people that went out of their way to, maybe give more than they should to try to defend him in a case they knew he should win, rightfully so, and whatever. And it ended up being different or whatever. But I'm going to say the thing that I know is going to be unpopular and people aren't going to like me for saying, but it's the right thing. I'm sorry. It's the right, like reasonable human thing, which is Karl made like, you know, what he's guilty of is pointing out the scumbaggery of a guy harassing and bullying a kid who ultimately took his life, whether or not it was directly like whatever, right? But like it's, and because of that, right? Because of that, he now is, you know, his career, I don't know what's going to happen, right? But like if you would believe Twitter, his career's over. He's a scumbag that no one ever likes. He's a scammer that people want to get their money back. And it's good. It's a great thing that fucking scumbag Billy Mitchell gets now to take $250,000 from this guy who's got a kid and a wife, and he's just a YouTuber that like, oh God, Billy fucking,
that's so
so mad. And then the worst part, that's probably equally as bad as, you know, how much this is going to fucking hurt Karl, is that now Billy's going around, come out of the shadows doing like victory lap, as if like I've been vindicated, even though he won a lawsuit that had nothing to do with the cheating accusations, nothing to do with the thing that he's infamous for, that everyone hates him for, that all of the evidence and science and whatever points to a particular, you know, verdict that, you know.
And it was proven that he was all but celebrating the death of the kid.
Yeah.
Like
when it turned out that he wasn't even dead.
The good guy, still, I guess. Like,
But yeah, now he's the good guy. But of course now Billy's got like, I don't know if he's got like bot weird cult followers that are coming out of the woodwork or what, but they're all just like, I feel really bad for Karl, and Karl is just like, he took down a video that he put up that was kind of like a scheduled video at the end of the month, because he put it up and it was just backlash. But he was doing it unrelated to this because he had like sponsor, you know, like you got to put it. So he ended up taking that video down. He's like, I've got to make a response video. It's going to be, you know, like just wait until the weekend. It's going to take me a bit to say everything I need to say. But in the meantime, while he's like silent, the internet is totally portraying this in a way that is, I will say this, the way that it's being spun, and now I could be wrong, there might be more evidence I don't know about, whatever, but I from what I understand of the story, the way that this is being spun is just as dishonest and far more harmful to Karl's reputation than what he allegedly said about Billy. Because Billy, his reputation was already in the fucking trash can. Nobody gave a fuck about anything he ever had to do or say. So there wasn't $250,000 in damages to Billy's fucking name. Okay. But you know, there's probably $1 million in damages that are going to happen to Karl for just trying to point to a guy who's a piece of shit for a lot of reasons and say he's a piece of shit. And if one thing factually, you know, can be interpreted in a way that this and that legally, then now. But it's just unfortunate because it's all being spun as if he intentionally was like, hey guys, I'm being sued for cheating. Give me all the money, when it was really about something else. When the timeline, when his video comes out, my estimate is that the facts of the timeline will demonstrate that, like, it's kind of just an unfortunate series of events. And when you raise a bunch of money in a legal defense fund against Billy Mitchell suing you, the like idiosyncrasies around like what exactly was it for? Like, what are you gonna have a lawyer interpret? Like, what did you know? And what was the cost? What was the cost? It was Billy, but ostensibly Billy is going to be made whole by this lawsuit. So the cost was a bunch of people paid $5. You know, each individually, or maybe even like $100, right? But cancel this guy, end his fucking career over a thing I the tweet without context. It's just so fucking maddening. It's so frustrating. It's so sad.
That's brutal. That's crazy. I had no idea. I saw you were watching the trial that day. I had no idea it went so sideways, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the judge, he basically, like, he ignored the vast majority of, like, really relevant things. You know, like, I thought it was relevant, right? That Billy would be gleeful, right, about the news of someone being dead.
Yeah.
That at least goes to, like, and you're saying that his reputation was tarnished more than these text messages that are real, that he,
you
know, that he just called dark humor. But, and that was never mentioned in the, like, 40-minute outline from the judge. He just ignored that. The fact that one of the more significant things, honestly, to me, was the fact that, and I'm making up all of the details. I don't remember the specifics, right? But, like, imagine in January, he sues person A for causing him these specific damages. I missed this. What he said about me, I couldn't get this job, this job, this job, this job. I lost this sponsor. I lost this deal. That gets dismissed. 6 months later, he sues person B saying, I lost all of these deals from what this guy said about me, the same deals he pointed to person A about.
Yeah.
And then does it to person C, does it to person D, and then does it to Karl.
Yeah.
And Karl's like, what are these damages? You claimed unequivocally that he was responsible, he was responsible, he was responsible, he was responsible, and now it's me.
Yeah.
That
so
was completely
true.
ignored. That was completely ignored by the fucking judge in the now, again, I'm not a lawyer. I can't speak to any of the idiosyncrasies of this, but it was just like, my jaw was on the floor when the judge was just going through and systematically being like, all of these things that are negative against Billy, none of them were established, and all of the things about Karl were all and I was like, oh fuck.
Jeez.
So
that's awful. Damn, dude.
It's wild. It's so wild. It's really unfortunate. You know, because Karl, he's been at the heart of some drama. You know, like, I think there were some fucking edgelords making some, like, racy jokes in his Discord at times, and, like, you know, he might have joined in with, like, there's just, like, been so many times where people have wanted to cancel him for shit, and it's like, oh my god, I just hate seeing, like, people who you know, as, like, and I can't say, like, he's my friend, like, I've never met him, right?
Yeah,
but like, as someone who I've spent many hours in voice calls with, more so than, like, my fucking dad in the last couple of years. Had really good conversations with, worked professionally with him. I think he's a great content creator. I think he's a good guy. So all of this stuff is just really fucking unfortunate.
Yeah, for sure. That's so brutal. That is so brutal. Dang.
Yeah, sometimes fucking evil wins, boys.
Yep. Freaking Billy. God damn you, Billy. That's brutal. I mean, dude, that's
I want nothing more than for any of the cheating lawsuits to go to trial.
Yeah.
Because the evidence will come out. But they never do. Yeah. Now, I'm not asking for it. Trust me. I would love to avoid a lawsuit, even though it would, like, make me famous. I could probably, you know, win, and, you know, but it's like, I don't need the drama, don't need the headaches, don't need the stress, don't need to have to spend literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash out of my bank account to deal with the bullshit. But I prepared beforehand, have a lawyer, and I crossed all my T's, dotted all my I's. I told the truth. I reached out to him, asking him to be able to clarify any and all of the information and the claims that are made. I came at it in good faith. So I'm not worried about it.
That's like,
but I'm not asking for it.
That's like the evil genius power move. Sue everyone that says anything bad about you for defamation and just drop all the lawsuits until, as a result of you suing someone gets frustrated and says something that could maybe be interpreted, drop all the other ones, and then go sicko mode on that one with your lawyers. Like, Because if you sue enough people, you know, someone's eventually going to say something that could be interpreted this way. And then you can like drop all that and get your sicko lawyers all over it. And it's like, that's wild.
Yeah. So now, and you know, the sad thing is that like this, I have to simultaneously, like, I have simultaneously want to like defend, you know, somebody who I consider a friend of mine, right?
Yeah.
While at the same time, like recognizing that what I say is codified in stone, you know, on a YouTube channel and fucking podcasts for all the time. So like, if next week Karl murders 5 people, and I'm like, he's a great guy.
Yeah,
so, like,
yeah.
I'm like, I want to defend my friend, but I also don't, because, you know, remember, dude, can you remember how there was like a phase where I like got into watching Destiny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I watched a bunch of his stuff, and I watched like, you know, he has like thousands of videos, and I watched like 6 long form debates and like professional. And I'm like, I really like the way he thinks and the way he talks, and he's articulate, and he's really smart, and, you know, he's logical in a rational way that we really don't see anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, I haven't seen all of his stuff. He has some edgy language. You know, I don't like the way he talks. I don't like how his chat's constantly telling people, you know, to harden themselves. Like, that's not cool, not good. But, you know, but I'm like, I really like this content. And, you know, I'm excited to see. And then like a week later, he got involved in like saying the craziest, wildest ding dong shit ever. And then, like, you know, what was it last year? I was talking about how I was watching Asmongold, blah, blah, blah. And right now, Asmongold, I think, is in the same kind of thing where he's just off the fucking charts. Like, I can't watch his stuff anymore. Yeah. And it's like, I don't want to say anything good or bad about anything
but
anywhere.
Now, you know, if you're just cruising through, like, if you're, like, late to the podcast and you're cruising through the old episodes, you know, post Destiny Crash Out, and you see the episode where Veritas is like, bro, this guy, like, he's saying, I like what he's saying. And you're like, oh, no.
Yeah, that you like the context, the contextual relevance, right, is completely lost unless you like look at the date of like the videos.
Exactly, which no one does. No one will. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh my God. Jeez. Well, that's brutal. That definitely snakes. God damn you, Billy. But. That's kind of the stuff. Lots of stuff happening. We still got some content, some things we didn't get to, but that's good. That's fun.
Yeah, we got through like half of the bullet points.
Yeah, we got to the point where we were supposed to do like the first sponsor. But no, yeah, it's cool. Some cool Tarky stuff. A lot of other stuff going on. I'm excited next week to talk a little bit more about my trip and stuff like that. So it'll be cool. But thank you guys for hanging. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the podcast community. If you want more content like this, you can go to patreon.com/thepogcastpod. We do early ad-free access to these episodes and even additional episodes every single week. And the extra episode is, dude, it's some of my favorite conversations of the week is the Fifi episode. So go check that out. Thank you so much to The Perfect Gene and to MANDO for sponsoring this episode. You guys are the best, and we will definitely see you on the next one.
If you're a cop, you have to tell me.